Do you smell that? Smells like the start of a new era. Holy cow. 1-0. You'll take a win however you can get it. Bears win 24-17 over the Tennessee Titans. Oh my gosh. Don't ever make me have to go through that again. This will go down as this generation's Monday Night Meltdown comeback. Of course, this is not at all like that game. For those who are unfamiliar, back in 2006, the Bears, who were 5-0 at the time, traveled to Arizona to play the Cardinals, who were 1-4 on Monday Night Football, trailed 20-0 at halftime, 23-3 in the third quarter, but 3 touchdowns in the second half from the defense and special teams put the Bears in front in a game that they came back and won improbably, which is highlighted by something that a lot of people probably have seen, the Devin Hester punt return touchdown that gave the Bears the lead. This is that game for the Bears. That is this game part 2. I mean, oh my gosh. The big difference between that game and this game. Offense didn't turn the ball over. In the 2006 Monday Night comeback the Bears had against the Cardinals, Rex Grossman was the quarterback and threw 4 interceptions, which is a big reason why the Bears were in that 20-0 hole in the first place. But obviously, that was not the case today. Caleb Williams did not turn the ball over at all. The offense was pretty clean, albeit ineffective. The only turnover the Bears did end up having was Velus Jones. Oh boy, I get to talk about Velus Jones again doing something really stupid. Oh, I'm so excited I get to do that again this year. I'm so glad he made the roster. He proves, literally on his second touch, I think he had a rush right before this kickoff return that he fumbled. Like, I can't even believe it. Goes right through his hands, and not just but with the new dynamic kickoff rule, if he muffs the kick, there's a good chance he can be able to pick it off of a bounce and continue to return it. He decides to kick it with his foot right to where all the people are. Titans jump on it, and the Bears defense holds them to 3 points, which I'll get to in just a second. But that was the only turnover of the game the Bears had. So while it wasn't as disastrous of quarterback play, while the offense wasn't as disastrous in terms of turning the ball over, they were still widely and largely ineffective when they really should have been much more effective today. Now, a lot of people are going to be talking about how Caleb Williams is a terrible quarterback because he threw for only a little over 90 yards in this game, and how the offense just looked really bad, and how it's going to be that the Bears are terrible, and that I implore you to understand that, hey, again, this is Caleb Williams' first NFL start. Again, every rookie quarterback has this type of a game. No quarterback, there are very, very few examples where a quarterback does not have this type of a game in the rookie year. There are very few examples. And I kept telling myself, and when I talked to other family and friends about the Bears this season, one of the big things that I was excited about was that the schedule was much easier in the front half as opposed to the back half. Because if Caleb Williams has the stereotypical and bound to happen bad rookie game where he, maybe he throws a couple picks or turns the ball over or just is ineffective, the defense is going to be able to help recover and hopefully lead him to a win and help him out. Make sure that those mistakes aren't as brutal and as game deciding as most rookie quarterbacks end up having. Of course, he didn't throw any interceptions or fumble the ball. He was just largely ineffective. That was the big thing today. The offense was just ineffective. Less than 150 total yards of offense. Yes, they had under 150 total yards of offense in this game. And before you say, how did they win a game, doing that? You do realize what team you're talking about. The Chicago Bears, a team that has been historically built on defense and running the football. It's been like that for 100 years. They're winning ugly games. They can win games without having to gain a ton of yards. And that's exactly what they did today. The last time they had won a game with under 150 total yards of offense, December 3rd, 2006. And we go back to 06 to find a Bears team that accomplished this feat, which is just hilarious. Like, the more you think about it, the more you realize that 06 Bears team does not go anywhere if that defense isn't as legendary as it was. Rex Grossman was the quarterback. I mean, yeah, that's all I have to say. He's just, they had Rex Grossman as the quarterback and they went to the Super Bowl. How does that even happen? Enough of the 06 comparisons. That is definitely not what this team is going to be. This was not pretty. Offensively. Defensively, mwah, phenomenal job. Great adjustments. That first half was not great. You know, they let up the touchdown. You're bound to let up a touchdown at some point, during a game. Most of the time. Not every game. Tony Pollard scampers for a touchdown. You're like, it's first score. Tony Pollard looked pretty good in the first half. Dude, that run defense was just locked down in the second half. I don't know how the Titans were able to even score like a rushing touchdown at the length Tony Pollard did at all in this game with how they played. This was the first time that a number 1 overall picked quarterback won his first career start since 2002. They were 0-14-1 up to that point. That does not happen. That is unbelievable. And it's just, the Bears won in spite of Caleb Williams, not because of him. And that's pretty easy to come away with. And it's a big takeaway from this game. But instead of focusing on what the offense failed at, I'm going to take a lot of time to appreciate the defense because they played out of their minds. First, I want to start with a new acquisition at the end of training camp. Darrell Taylor, which Ryan Poles gave up a 6th round pick to acquire this guy from Seattle. He played great. 2 sacks, including a forced fumble, which is what turned the tide in the game. It was the first of 3 takeaways for this Bears defense. Taylor forces the ball out of Levis's hands. Bears able to pick it up. After a bit of a scramble for it, Edwards falls on it. And he played great. Gervon Dexter gets the other sack for the Bears today. I'm surprised it only went down to 3 sacks. It felt like more. But whatever it was, they got a ton of pressure on Will Levis. 8 tackles for loss. TJ Edwards had 15 total tackles. Jaquan Brisker had 10 total tackles. The Bears defense was all over this Titans offense. And they couldn't get anything going. After they went up 17-0, obviously. And that drive where they scored their second touchdown took off 8.5 minutes of clock. That's exactly what the Titans were going to have to do to win this game. Have those long drives, keep that Bears defense out there because that was how they were going to tire them out and be able to win this game. They could not do that in the second half. The Bears defense was able to get off the field. And, I mean, they played great. Of course, I haven't gotten to the biggest plays of the game yet. Because I'm going to wrap in special teams here. Outside of Velus Jones just absolutely, becoming Velus Jones and, fumbling the ball and just doing a typical Velus Jones play, DeAndre Carter played great. Had a couple really nice punt returns, gave the Bears good field position several times, including a long 60-plus yard punt return. I believe it was in the second quarter. And he played great. Almost every time made the first guy miss. And, he played great. And then you get to the blocked punt. That was the spark that the Bears needed. A blocked punt picked up by safety Jonathan Owens, returned for the Bears' first touchdown of the season. If you had a blocked punt being the first touchdown the Bears scored this season on your bingo card, congratulations. You win nothing, but you're right about predicting that. I don't know what you win. Who would have called that a special teams touchdown? But it's so Bears. It's been their identity for a century. Special teams, defense, run the football, smash mouth. It's not pretty football, but it's effective because that special teams unit played great. And then the defense. Tyreek Stevenson with a game-winning pick-6 touchdown to give the Bears the lead, a lead they would not relinquish. Oh my gosh. But I mean, that was also incredibly easy for Stevenson to make. I mean, can we just say, what in the world was Will Levis thinking on that third down play as he tried to escape the pocket? What in the world was he thinking? You know, he's going down, he's about to be tackled, and he just flings it out, trying to get an incompletion. It's third down, take the sack, you can punt it away. But he flings it away, underthrows it, obviously, and Tyreek Stevenson able to grab it, take it down the sideline for 6 points, and the Bears defense and special teams puts up the 2 touchdowns the Bears get in this game. I mean, that is just unbelievable. Naturally, the Bears do a good job to try and salt away this clock after the Titans go back out and cannot convert. Couple nice plays to keep the clock rolling. They burn the clock down. They get it to under 3 minutes. And unfortunately, they have to punt it away. So the Titans get a chance. They have a 2-minute warning and a timeout to stop the clock. Now trailing for the first time in this game. Can Will Levis lead a comeback drive? Answer's no. He had a couple nice throws on that. He had a nice throw on that drive to Calvin Ridley. That got me a little bit nervous. But once it was 4th down, that Bears D-line was getting way too much pressure. Will Levis chucks up a duck. Jalen Johnson holds on to it. Ball game, Bears win. 2 interceptions on the day and a forced fumble. 3 turnovers forced by this Bears defense. And they're the stars of the show. They win this game. They won that game for the Bears. That entire defensive unit should be very proud of the way they played, because they won that game. The Bears offense scored 9 points. You get the extra point, and then you get the 2-point conversion. There's your 12. It's an even split. 12 points from the offense, 12 points from the defense. Of course, you know, if you can count special teams, 22 points for defense and special teams, 2 points for the offense. Offense looked really sluggish, couldn't get anything going. DeAndre Swift had a couple nice runs, but he followed up with a couple of really poor runs where he's getting the ball behind the line of scrimmage, tries to make a cut, and he just loses a couple of yards. So many negative plays for this Bears team. They really struggled offensively, and they got to fix that quick. Again, no one is expecting them to go into Houston next week and pull out a win against C.J. Stroud and the Texans. No one's expecting that. If they can look competent, keep the game somewhat close, defense can play well, Caleb Williams shows some growth, I'll be happy with a 1-1 start, especially with how poor the offense looked here. This is the game I was trying to allude to. I was hoping that if Caleb Williams struggled, this was the type of a game that the Bears would end up winning because their defense would come through and help negate some of those shortcomings. I've been so anxiously waiting for this game for months. And it's finally here. Was not happy with how Caleb Williams performed. Several balls off target. Overthrew a guy once or twice. But there were certain just in front of the guy too much. Just, you know, ill-advised. He didn't make any ill-advised throws, though. Like, that was the thing. I didn't feel like there were any, like, really terrible decisions he made. It felt like he was just off target. And a lot of passes were falling incomplete. There were a couple drops. I will give him that. Keenan Allen had a drop or two. But, you know, there were a couple of not great decisions on, you know, Caleb's part. You know, a couple sacks that he took that he probably shouldn't have taken. Well, the 2 sacks mainly. The first one being the big one. You know, spins out of one, decides not to throw it away, and gets sacked. You know, there are plenty of negatives to take away from Caleb Williams' performance, but the stat line does not show at all. I don't think he really put a ball in really harm's way. If there was a danger for a pass to be intercepted, it was because the ball was tipped. There were a couple of those plays. There were a couple deep in Titans territory, both of them that I'm thinking of right now. One was just tipped and just fell innocently right in the middle of 3 Titan defenders. Getting a little lucky there. But the other one, I mean, just like how they drew it up. Throws for DJ Moore, bounces off the noggin of a Titans defender, pops up in the air, and Roma Dunze goes up and grabs it and coughs the ball up right as he lands. Tevin Jenkins, a heads-up play to fall on it. But, how's that for your first NFL catch, Rome? All in all, you might look at this game and say there's not too many positives to take away. But especially if you followed this team for years, you know what style of football this team has played and will continue to play probably unless Caleb Williams becomes the generational talent that most people think he is. It's going to be like this. These games, the Bears find a way to win. The defense plays well. They're able to produce takeaways. And it's a bit of an ugly win, yes. But there are plenty of positives to take away from this. Most of them being on the defensive side of the ball, which I think we as NFL enjoyers should appreciate more. So a big round of applause for the Bears defense picking up the win. And there's a lot. I would be really interested to look into that offense meeting, that first offensive meeting, and just see what they talk about, what needs to change. Caleb had said a couple things about he needs to be better, which I think is important for him to recognize that he did not play well, but it's also important for him to enjoy this because, again, his team did end up winning. He shouldn't just go into the locker room and hang his head because he didn't have a great game. He should be celebrating for his teammates and uplifting his teammates as a leader does. So that's important. Well, we're just hoping that he can, whatever funk he found himself in, whether it was nerves or whatever it was, hoping he can fix this pretty soon. They got a tough 3 games ahead on the road at Houston, on the road at Indianapolis, who played very well against the Texans today, and then they return home to play the LA Rams. So tough 3-game stretch, hoping to win at least one of these next 3 games. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Bears somehow find a way to win this game. Brush this one off. You escaped. You won. Now what do you need to fix to get better so you can compete? Because, again, once you play a real team that can make you pay for the mistakes and for not being effective offensively, that's when things get really serious. So you're able to pull out the win. Very proud of them to stick with it after being down 17-0. I mean, that in itself is impressive. Coming back from that deficit, those field goals were important, chipping away at the lead. It's why you take the points. It's why you take the points. People are crazy, they want to just go for it and they see the allure of 6 and they're like, oh, we need to go for it. That's why you take the points. You put yourself in a better position to compete. And they come back and win it. I don't know how, but they win it. So there you have it. Bears win. Somehow, some way. If you like this video, please give it a like button. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the game. And, subscribe if you want to see more reactions from me because, oh my gosh, if this is what every game is like, oh my gosh, you are not going to want to miss a single video. So hit that subscribe button if you want to see more from me. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, everyone.